Good morning traders and welcome to Flow with the Markets Tuesday of the weekly outlook and setups volume 152. Alright, so as you know in this video I'm pretty quick, pretty simple, pretty straightforward. We have a look at Monday's price action and of course we try to forecast what could happen today and for the remaining of the week, right? So we're gonna do just that, and without wasting any time, let's get into it because the market is already running and of course money doesn't sleep, so we have to trade. Okay, so of course make sure to check your economic calendars. We do not have too much right now, but we have something on Thursday. That is the interest rate decision for the euro, right? So that is what is going to be awaited a lot, right? So we can already see a lot of the currencies are moving. You can see the dollar right now is just on the rampage again, right? Massively pumping higher, and this is probably due to GBP weakness, Aussie weakness, and some other pairs being weak against the dollar. We have this risk off perspective again, right? So let's see how we can adapt to it. Okay, so as you can see, my forecast was a potential deeper pullback towards this zone, taking out this as the low. But then I thought in a retrospective, then I said, okay, if this is the push, right? Well, this is the pullback. The pullback has completed, right? So just because we did this push up, right, this is already moving towards breaking this high, right? So yes, it was not really expected for it to come in back lower right there. But but my yesterday's analysis to my team, of course, we had a look at this most recent range, right? So we just took out this range like that. Then of course on the lower time frame, we had a level like this right there. So this is where we actually went inside, and there were some beautiful longs to be taken right there. And shorts on EU. Unfortunately, I kind of was a little bit off yesterday. So first, like the session started, I'm going to show you EU in a bit, right? So currently, DXY is breaking above this zone, right? Which is good. We haven't really closed above yet. And if you just scroll a little bit on the left, we have this very strong range, right? So I do expect some sort of a reaction from here. And of course, right now, what we're having is a massive pump to the upside that is going to create a higher high. So as soon as we start tapping inside this zone, we can start expecting a reaction, right? But this reaction is, yeah, not going to be a massive reversal to the downside, but it's just going to be a pullback potentially, then to continue going higher. Okay, so this is how I imagine this week to develop, right? So we're going to tap inside right there. We're going to create a pullback. You can, of course, take your FIP as the market stops. Let's see 50%, right? What we have right now, which is not very nice, is a gap in the market, right? So if we go to the 15-minute, we can see that there is a gap, and usually the market tends to fill those gaps immediately, right? But what we see right now is that we had a little bit of a spike, and right now breaking structure again. So the most recent break is right here, and the most recent demand is this wick, right? Which is kind of a 5-minute, I think, candle. Yeah. So again, well, I am bullish on the DXY, like I'm bullish right now, so there is absolutely no reason for me to be bearish. Of course, right now we are taking the liquidity above this high, and usually what happens after we do this is we initiate a pullback, right? So the question is the pullback gonna be pretty big, right? Pulling back towards 50% right now of this overall range, or are we just gonna pull back towards the most recent demand zones, maybe fill the gap, right, or just tap into this wick and then to potentially continue towards the highs, okay, which is kind of, yeah, 103, right? This can be a potential level to be tapped because, yeah, if I see right here, it's a pretty strong zone, right? We first came in to respond from that little guy right there, and then we massively sold off, and this zone hasn't been retested, so I do think we can get a reaction from there. So yes, well, I'm bullish. Again, the question is how are we gonna develop? It's a little bit of a sketchy Tuesday, right? So we yesterday was really nice for a Monday. Actually, Mondays are usually not that good, but some Mondays are pretty good, in fact. So yes, right now it's a bit sketchy with that wick, and this is because of the Royal Bank of Australia interest rate decision. They hiked it by a little. Can I flick to my other screen? I hope so. We can see that they hiked it with 25 base. Oh no, they hiked it by a lot actually. What is this? Yeah, 50 basis points, right? So this is pretty good, right? This is pretty, it should be, what is it, bullish for the Aussie, right? Because when they usually hike the rates, then the currency should go long, right? So I'm not sure how this one is going to play out, but of course we're going to have a look at the chart. So having this bullish bias on the Dixie, let's keep going with EU. Oh, this is my thumbnail. Well, it's kind of going out well so far, right? So yes, I expected kind of a bigger pullback towards this region again, but as I told you, the market just needed a little bit of a pullback, lower high, and right now we're flowing to the downside. So I'm kind of sad that I could not take a short yesterday. The shorts came in during New York, but I usually don't trade New York too much. Maybe on Mondays I should, but Again, let's just make sure to stick to the plan and not change anything. So right now we have this overall bearish structure, right? As I mentioned to you, this was an 8-hourly zone, right? On the 8 hours. Right now we're starting to create a push to the downside. It's starting to lose a little bit of momentum, right? We can see the candles. So it's gonna need a little bit of a push to the upside, right? The question is, where is this push going to end? Okay. Well, of course, we have this, which is pretty much this is the highest point that we can pull back to potentially, but this is, I think, a little bit too high, so I don't expect this. And what we have right now is an overall bearish flow. So we have this wick that the market reacted to when at 6:30 when the interest rate came out for Australia. And right now, if I just go to the 10 minutes, there is this one that hasn't been retested. So this one was created during New York, right? So pretty much yesterday I was looking to long right there. So there was only one long right there, which was pretty early, right? 8:10. This is 10 minutes into Frankfurt Open, right? I usually tend not to trade so early on the Monday, so there was the only long. Then I tried to get in right there. I was even dropping to the 30 seconds and I didn't see an entry. And yeah, then we pushed up right there towards my zone that I actually called in the morning for my team. Some of them actually just took a short from right there, but again, it was no trading time for me right there around 12 o'clock. And yes, then in New York session, there was this short right there to be taken, which was pretty good, right? Then we created this massive buy. We took out the liquidity above this high. So according to me, this zone is very strong, right? So of course, what my outlook for the day is, if I just quickly trigger the Asian range, we already went above it, which is good. So we're kind of bearish and bullish on the DXY. So I have a few situations. Well, one of it can be a very massive spike into this zone, right? Which can give us a bullish London session. And if I just go back to the 15-minute, yeah, there is not a very clean zone, so it's on the 5, I think. So what I have right now is, of course, this wick. So this is the wick that actually tapped inside this supply, took the liquidity, and then we can see that we also created a shift in market structure. And then we have this little guy, because if I explore this on the 1 minute, we had this push right there. We had this pullback that actually took the liquidity above this little range, right? And then look at that, massive momentum to the downside. We kind of pulled back, tried to tap inside, right, consolidated for a bit, and right now we pushed. So of course, there are two things that could happen on EU. As I'm speaking right now, it can just continue to plummet like mad because it already did a lot of work, right? It already made the liquidity gap, it already shifted the structure, it already pulled back to give us an entry, pushed, it already gave us a second entry, pushed, and right now it's probably giving us a third entry. And right now it's probably just gonna plummet, taking out the Asian low. And potentially again, the final target, because we saw the DXY take out the high, then this one should usually technically be heading towards this low, right? And we have a lot of room to the downside, so I'm very curious to see if this one is gonna work out, okay? But usually what I would love to see is a little bit of a spike, right? So I want to buy I want to sell high, right? So currently the market is low, right? It's just at the lows, about to make a new lower low, and I usually don't want to sell at this level. There was a short that I wanted to take from here, so I actually took this on demo, not on my live account, but I took it on demo. So I actually had this short towards this low, right, from here. But then I was like, well, I would like to have a bigger pullback, but do you just grab liquidity right there and continue to drop? So yeah, kind of a messy day yesterday. But yes, so without speaking too much, this is my outlook for right now. I would be looking for the market to pull us back into some of these zones. If we turn bullish, then I'm going to be looking to short maybe New York from this zone right there. And of course, right now, if we just pump to the downside, then of course, I will just try to follow the momentum and keep shorting, right? As long as until we are wrong, right? We have this little range on the left that the market can potentially respond to, so let's see about that. And yeah, very important to flow with the markets, guys. Right now we're bearish, so I keep shorting until I'm wrong. If again we start shifting to bullish, right, if the 50-minute breaks, if the 5 minutes really starts to shift bullish, then of course I'm gonna adapt to longs. Okay, so that's EU. Yeah, EJ again just massively expanded higher. I had what is this line? Well, yeah, this is potentially where we called the market to break, and it's already massively above it. So yeah, the JPYs are just mad. Sometimes I'm thinking, well, we should just trade those trending pairs, like just plot a buy somewhere. And as you can see, yesterday we actually pulled back towards this zone, pushed, pull back, pushed, and again pull back to create a higher low right there. So another beautiful opportunity right here. And right now we're just moving. All right, so this range that I drew, it's no longer relevant. We're creating a new one, and this is what the JPYs tend to do, right? They just tend to pump, right? They kind of get a little bit tricky, and when they pump, they just pump, right? They're like Bitcoin. But yeah, so right now we're creating a higher high. So I'm not gonna go on the left because yeah, we have to go to like 2015, I think, or something. And yeah, well, I'm going to be looking for a pullback and then a continuation, right? Nothing too much to say. This is currently our 4-hourly higher low and demand. So let's see if we can get a pullback, and or we can just, of course, continue pumping higher. So this bullish euro yen does not give me a lot of confidence in a bearish euro, right? But again, as I told you, JPYs currently are not correlating too much to their major pairs, right? Because the yen is very weak right now again. So Aussie dollar is tricky. So the setup is playing out perfectly so far. And as I told you, well, we are technically bullish on this pair, right? We have this push. Currently, this is all minor structure. It's all a complex correction. We got to tap inside. We have this very big wick during the trade decision. And yes, right now it is a little bit tough to trade, right? It's a bit tough to trade. We came in at this little bullish candle to just ping it right there. We took a lot of liquidity. So we took out these flat highs right there. We took some of here as well. And yeah, so we're currently inside this zone, right? It is bullish on the voyage. We grabbed so much liquidity from here as well, right? But it's just that this wick, like first we took out the lows, then we took out the highs. So yes, technically right now we should be bullish, right? But I'm just not loving it right now. If you go to the 1 minute, well, according to me, the market is still bearish. Supply is still in control. This is the last lower high, lower low. So we're still trading lower. So I would love to have this flat price taken out first and then to potentially see a reversal, right? Maybe on the 5 minute, something on the 5 minute I would like to see. But yes, let me know what you guys think about AU. It's a little bit difficult to read right now with this huge wick, so I tend to give it more time right now. So let's give it a little bit more time, see where it's gonna go. But again, technically, so I'm favoring more longs because the 4-hourly is bullish right now, right? So yeah, we threw in this big wick, but then this wick, if we just ignore the wick and you just say, okay, so we're having this push, we're having a pullback right now, a very deep pullback. So let's see if we can get an entry setup right there. So I think you can be dropping right now to a lower time frame and start getting a long. Okay, so this is how I would approach it today. And of course, if we continue dropping lower, then of course we have to adapt. Okay, but a little bit tough to analyze right now, so I'm giving it some time. But again, I say I'm overall long bias as long as we are sticking above this zone. Right there, as long as we're above this zone right there, then we should be bullish. Okay, and yes, probably AJ is also expanding. Yep, breaking above the zone and actually wicking above it. Right, so yeah, the range almost worked out. We kind of pulled back, but no, this is, yeah, this is yesterday, 6th of June. Yeah, so we actually got a nice pullback. So I definitely think you could have taken longs right there. And right now we have a new massive range, right? So let's take it like this. Of course, the demand is right there. Is it gonna reach? Well, I don't know. It's way too bullish to be traveling so much lower. So again, yeah, I don't trade JPYs. They tend to react slightly differently. You can see when they start pumping, they just create like little ranges, push, pull back, push, pull back. They just start to trend very nicely. But actually yesterday we had this break of the low, break of the high. So there is the 15-minute higher low. We have a push, pull back, higher low, right? So definitely a lot of opportunities to get into. So yeah, similar to EJ, well, I'm just looking for any sort of a pullback, 50% preferably, and then a potential continuation, right? There is no reason to be looking for shorts. Yes, we took out the major high, right? So we can initiate a pullback. Well, that would be nice to pull back towards somewhere right there on the 50%. I don't see a clean zone right here. It's kind of an overall range, but as soon as we tap in right there, the 50-minute might turn bearish a little bit. As we turn bullish on the 50-minute, then I'm going to be looking to long. Okay, so that is AJ. NZUSD is actually breaking very nicely below right now. So we were kind of bullish on this, if you remember. So we had this push, pullback, right? And right now we're breaking. Is that gonna drag the Aussie down? Could be, right? Could be. But if I just delete everything right now and reevaluate, well, we have this break of structure right now. Right there. This is the overall lower high. I'm gonna take it like this, a little bit bigger, right? And yeah, well, we took out this high right there, which was a lot of liquidity here. So right now we're reversing. Well, what I can say, if I just keep it simple and ask, okay, what is the market doing right now? Well, it shifted bearish, right? So what I want to do is I want to short, right? Where from? Well, potentially from right here to create a lower high. Right now, the market is just pumping. It threw this big wick right there, which kind of grabbed the liquidity right there and probably went inside this 50-minute zone. Yep. taking out this liquidity right here. So also what is very possible is to respond from this sort of zone, right? So similarly to EU, oh man, EU is just dumping right now, not good. We can see this pullback right here, lower high, and then a potential continuation lower. So that's how I would approach NZUSD right now. And of course, like the other pairs, it can just continue plummeting. So if it continues to drop, then just utilize any trend following strategy, right? Just simple pushes and pulls and pullbacks, lower lows and lower highs. Man, EU is dropping again, no entry. NZD-JPY, well, similar to all the JPYs, it's probably extending to the upside. It provided a little bit of a pullback for us to get in. Right now it's in a new push phase, right? So we have a new push. I see a bearish candle right there that can potentially be a demand zone, right? So currently we are already in the pullback. We're shifting a little bit bearish on the 50-minute. So let's see if we can maybe take a short into the long area and then from there wait for the shift and then potentially high. Okay. Of course, the short is not necessary because we're in a bullish market, so don't try to do anything stupid, but let's see if we can catch any continuations on this one. It actually looks pretty good, and we have a lot of room towards the supply that we drew on the weekly outlook, so let's see if this one is going to work out. But again, as usual, follow the momentum. And yes, if we check out UJ, it just expanded, bro. So this is probably why the US dollar is so bullish, right? So it just kind of opened, poof. Massive, right? Massive moves on this pair. Like I was calling like 131.50, it just blow through like a 200 pips above it. Okay, so yeah, what can I say? Well, yeah, massive push phase. It hasn't even stopped to make a new higher high. It's just mad, man. Who is long on UJ since the downside right there? It's massive. But yeah, as I said, I don't trade USD-JPY, I don't trade JPY, so I'm not sure how to approach them. So again, guys, wait for clean pullbacks, maybe drop to the hourly or maybe trade the 15-minute, just wait for those little pullbacks and then just get in, right? I don't know how, it's just expanding to the upside, so those are not my setups, so of course I'm skipping this one. The USD was trying expanding nicely, so yeah, the US dollar is pretty bullish, right? And we can already see GU as forecasted. I was kind of bearish on GU, right? So perfectly it went inside this zone and it perfectly went inside this guy. It started very bullish, right? It started very bullish, but then as we tapped towards this zone, we kind of grabbed a little bit of liquidity above. Then we started kind of shifting a little bit, right? And right now during the 6:30 interest rate decision for Aussie, the pound also dropped, right? So right now we're pretty bearish, right? We have this supply right there. We created a massive break of structure right now. The 4 hourly is definitely turning bearish right now. We might be traveling towards the most recent demand zone, which is this one. So again, I see no trading opportunities on it so far. I would love to see like any sort of a pullback potentially that could happen during New York or right now during London Open. So if we get any pullback, then of course I would like to short, but right now there is nothing, all right? A lot of you guys might start to look for longs as well, basing it like on a break, taking of liquidity and then starting to pull back. But no, I would like to trend follow for now. So I'm going to be looking for a pullback. And any region that can cause the market to find supply, it's going to be good, right? But of course, next target is this little demand. And as we tap inside, then we're going to reevaluate because then we can tap inside, initiate a pullback, then pull back towards 50% of this new range, right? And then potentially continue dropping lower. Okay, and GJ is probably as well expanding. Yeah, we had a couple of zones right there, and as you can see, it actually retested this one, which is pretty good. And I had a member of my team that actually took a very nice long just from here. Very simple push, pullback, break, and retest, right? And then it just continues higher massively. Okay, so yeah, you can see like the USDs, for example, GU massively bearish, GJ massively bullish, right? So they're completely different right now. So don't try to correlate them. Okay, and yeah, what I can say about the JPY pair, well, massive expansion. So I would love to have a little range created. The first zone that I see is this guy. So let's see if we can get any pullbacks to potentially jump on the train, right? So this is my outlook for GJ and GU. Of course, it's short bias, but currently expanding. So let's see if we can catch anything. And the Euro GBP, I don't look at this pair. It looks like Euro is pretty bullish, is it? Well, no, it's probably GU is pretty bearish, right? Goat, yeah, okay, so it kind of developed nicely. We get a little bit of a, whoa, it developed actually textbook, didn't it? I'm becoming a master on gold. So we had a tap inside, we actually flipped. So right now we're turning bearish. So I would right now be interested to short from this area, as simple as possible, right? So we responded from demand, and right now we're flipping to supply. Yes, there is a little zone right there that can cause the market to react, right? But if we pull back towards this zone, then I'm going to be looking for a lower time frame confirmation entry to potentially go short. Okay, and with the current bullish dollar, then definitely shorting gold is going to be a good idea, right? So keeping it as simple as that. Indices, I took some shorts on US 30 and S&P yesterday. I'm not sure precisely where, right? I'm just kind of testing them out right now. But yes, overall, I do expect this one to continue dropping right now. Looking at the dollar expanding, then indices should continue to drop. We do not have like a complete confirmation yet. I'm really looking for this hourly level to break. US 30 is kind of still above it. Nasdaq is also kind of above it. S&P as well, right? We responded very beautifully from that level right here. And right now we're potentially headed lower. So I'm looking to see that break. Right, I'm looking to see that break, but of course, if you're trading indices, then I would say shorts. Right, I'm short bias on them, although we are technically bullish. Right, I would also love to take some shorts. And oh, what is this guy doing right there? It's kind of up, down, up, down. Ethereum is also kind of going lower a little bit. So yeah, crypto is nothing too much to say. All right. So guys, I'm going to leave it there. Of course, we're expanding right now. DXY is tapping into supply. So again, everything changes, right? Even by the time I'm doing this analysis in the morning, again, the market changes, right? So right now, instead of looking for longs, we might have to look for shorts, right? EU is breaking out the Asian low, so I really hope to get a short trade on this one, but it developed a little bit too early, right around right here, 7 o'clock, should be getting the entries. Then this one was pretty choppy to take any shorts according to me, so right now we push lower. So two things you can do, of course, right now is we can trade from this kind of zone, right? So if you pull back towards this zone, then we can start looking for shorts. But then the next problem is that we took out the liquidity below the Asian low, so this can be a liquidity grab, and then we can also turn bullish, right? But if you pull back right there and get a very clean 1 minute setup, then I do think we can take a short, right? Riding it towards this demand, which is 106.60, right? And then to potentially see what's going on from there, right? So hopefully we get a clean week of price action, because I'm just tired. I'm just tired of having unclear price. But yes, Aussie dollar, I'm bullish on the pair, right? So let's see if it's going to give us any entry. GU is just falling right now, so let's see if we can get any sort of pullbacks. NZD is reversing. The JPYs are, of course, bullish. So this is the outlook for today. Hopefully, guys, it was insightful. I'm quick and simple, as I said, and I wish you an amazing week, right? Make sure to follow your plan. Remember that not every day is a tradable, right? Just follow your plan. If you don't get your setup, then don't care, right? You're going to tune in tomorrow. And yes, wishing you a lovely week. If you have any questions, you know where to find me, and let's grab some pips.